Hey, my name is Mark Fletcher. I'm the owner of Tower Systems. I own a couple of small retail businesses, and I love looking at indie retail. I was in London in February 2023 and got to see this business called President Correct. And I just want to share with you some of what I saw and why I think this business is a really, really cool business to visit. Their focus is on stationery. Now, even if you don't sell stationery, you might find this interesting. President Correct is a business started in 2009 by a couple of people. They're designers, graphic designers. The store itself is very much design driven, and it's focused on them selling items that they love, items that have a vintage connection. They see their business as a showcase. And these photos that I want to share with you kind of speak to that. As you step inside the front door of President Correct, on the left-hand side, there is this lucky dip, which I think is really, really cool. And you can get stationery items through the lucky dip. Very cool, very clever. Their fixturing, as you can see over here, you've got a little bit of pegboard here, and that's an example of the type of kind of everyday non-shop fit type fixturing that they're using within their business. And look at this for an awesome display. You've got clips down the left-hand side. You've got staplers across the top. You've got scissors there. Really appealing, really enjoyable, and not in a traditional way that we would present stationery. If you think about how stationery is presented today, any of us in stationery retail kind of follow the Officeworks model of, pretty boring. It's all about the function. It's all about what we must have in terms of stationery. Whereas this display here, what President Correct are doing is it's all about the want. I want, if I like green, I want that green stapler. Or if I like silver, I want that silver pair of scissors or the yellow pair of scissors. I'm going to be drawn to what I want rather than what I need. And then over on the side of the photo, you can see how they're displaying their tape. They've got a bit of dowel coming out of the wall, and they've got rolls of tape just sitting there. Really, really clever. And then down the bottom here, they've got products presented again, not in the way that you would expect to see traditional stationery presented. Really, really cool and thoughtful. So as you've entered the store, you've got the pegboard texture, you've got the dowel texture, and then you've got shelving. So quite different textures being used to display product, and do it in a way that's visually interesting and appealing without making it feel too much like a shop. And then when you look down, you've got an array of erasers there, all different sorts of erasers. You've got pencil sharpeners. You've got these old stretchy sort of pen things that sit in your pocket and hold pens in place. Really, really cool and really interesting. Here, if you look at it very carefully, you've got a via airmail sticker over here. You've got LEDs here. You've got a little knife here, pencil sharpeners here, all sorts of things that are kind of the nostalgic stationery item that you're drawn to, and you might buy just because you find it interesting or it triggers a memory from the past. But it's in there, the bespoke or the stationery that they make, which is really fascinating. You've got these old pull-out shelves that have shelves and shelves and shelves of old stationery, old filing type materials and things like that. You've got fragile stickers, you've got special sale stickers, really nice and interesting. You've got the with care sticker here. You've got the envelope over here, which is going to be your receipt envelope. Really, really old style. Any of you who've been in an old office from decades ago will recognize this interdepartment delivery envelope. There's a date here, delivered to, their department, was sent by, excuse me, and then their department. And then what happens is this same envelope is used over and over for different things. So once that person is finished with it, they cross their name off, keep the envelope until they want to send something to someone else, and then put it in the envelope and send it that way. Back in the day, this was the way people communicated within offices when they were sending paperwork between offices and even between buildings. So that right there, for me, is a piece of nostalgia. And yeah, I want one of those because it reminds me of decades ago, first starting out in a business situation. Also back in the day, there were these things in businesses, little pink pads for person's name, date, and time. And then you put M is going to be the person of whichever company, phone, fax, mobile. Then you tick the box. They telephoned you, came to see you, wants to see you, returned your call. And then there's the message and you sign it. And if you went out for lunch or went somewhere, you came back to your desk and you might have 3 or 4 of those things, 3 or 4 of those notes sitting there. And because they were pink, you knew they were a message, you knew they were important. And so somebody, again, who's been in business for decades, this is a nostalgia gift. It's a nostalgia hit. And President Correct is all about creating that sort of experience for people, giving people those items. You've got these things here. I didn't know what they were until I turned them over and I saw that they were pads, stamp pads. So here's a calendar type stamp pad that you can create for people. Just absolutely fantastic. And then in the window, you've got the old kind of crayon thermoses and these large, they are large, oversized erasers. Absolutely fantastic. They do clever things too. Like you've got traditional wooden shelving, and then they have this kind of salmon raised up little fixture that holds items, that helps give the shop visual texture and helps me pop product out, get the product in front of customers to take note. They've got a few of those. They're really cool, really clever, just really smart. But it's their connection with nostalgia, which is fantastic. You've got the old style composition books. So you've got books and stationery sitting here. Then you've got a border of stationery items, whether it's rulers or pens or pencils. Then on the other side, you've got more stationery. Really smart, really clever, helping the shopper engage and have an experience that's just fascinating. They've got so many different things that take you back over time, whether it's parcel post labels or, visitor tags or whatever. And it's just really smart to see what they do within this business. They clearly love stationery, and it's their love of stationery that comes through. When I was there, the shop probably had 10 or 15 people in there, and I would swear that everybody was buying something, myself included, because it's the kind of place that when you're in there, you want to spend money with them. You really want to have that purchase, not only because you like the item, but because it gives you something that reminds you of having been in the shop, which is the mark of a really good retail experience. So President Correct is just a fantastic experience, really well worth having, well worth seeing. You go to their website and you have a similarly good experience. It is just a beautifully displayed and designed website. Absolutely looks fantastic. When I went to the website, what I was drawn to was the tab over here where it says ephemera. And you go to ephemera and you think, well, what is this? And well, it is what it says. It's just a mixture of things that really give you wonderful memories, or even if you don't know them, you might wish that you knew them, like the old style time card or the confidential envelope, which of course you want to open and have a look at what's inside, or the urgent sticker, or, graph stickers. Hello, my name is, what's yours? You've seen those in tons of movies from years gone by. Absolutely fantastic. And this is part of what sets President Correct apart, I think, because, it's the kind of business that it really does connect with wonderful memories. It's a business that, while it's retail and a shop, it doesn't feel like a shop. It feels like sort of part museum, part experience, part kind of love of design. It feels curated. I think that's the best way to describe it. And as a curated business, it's very different. It's the kind of business, if somebody was going to London and they're a retailer, I would say, go to President Correct, have a look at it, check it out, because it's very small. When you first walk in, you might think, well, why am I here? What am I looking at? But the reality is you're looking at something that's run by people who love what they do and who have carefully, thoughtfully sought out items or made items themselves to display in the shop through this process of curation to serve people who love stationery, people who love design, people who love vintage, people who love nostalgia. And that's what President Correct is satisfying. It's a really, really different type of business. I have stationery in some of the stores that I own and run. And I picked up some ideas from President Correct that I want to bring to those businesses, because I think it encourages us to do stationery differently. It encourages us to look at stationery beyond being the must-have because I have a specific need, to the want because of some sort of emotional connection. And I think that's what's really interesting. Hope the video's been useful. If you are in London or do get to London, check out President Correct. Have a great day.